Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of the WoW Collector. Um, in this episode, what we're going to be doing is doing our first run of Blackwing Descent. It's one of the Cataclysm raids, and I do think it was the first Cataclysm raid. I decided after we ran Emerald Nightmare just to do a couple other smaller dungeons. So here we are, set it to 25 Heroic. This is a Legacy loot raid. What that means is the mobs that you kill prior to getting to the bosses, those will drop gear sporadically. I want to say it's based on how many people are in the raid, but I don't really think that's accurate because as you can see within the first two bosses, I want to say there's three. There's about six enemies in total, and I think I was able to loot one or two of those. So I'm not too sure the discrepancy, but here we are in Blackwing Descent, home of the best title that is earnable in all of World of Warcraft. It does expire after 30 minutes, but it's still pretty sweet. We're with Nefarian. He was the last boss in Blackwing Lair, the second raid in Vanilla. Um, and he has a few surprises. Interesting side note, we do fight Anoxia this same night, and it's kind of cool that Anoxia is in this raid as well. So just three pieces of trash, and then the first boss was here. This is a pretty fun raid back in Cataclysm because it was pretty quick, but at the same time, um, some of the boss fights are pretty neat. Um, really great play by my Paladin here. As you can see, he's kind of not there. So now, this is very important right here, all the gear that we got. Um, I got a good amount of loot from him, and I feel like it was still personal loot. Yeah, he jumped through to loot him. So yes, you can get down there, but you can't get back up. And remember, fire is percentage based health, not just HP anymore. So thankfully, he was able to die pretty quick here. He was trying to heal himself through it. Uh, kind of was a lot like Will Ferrell in Austin Powers, where he tries to kill him and he's still not dead yet. I wanted to use Eagle Eye to get a better view, but it only works outdoors. Um, so I do think I need to do a better job, and this will happen in subsequent videos, of showing the exact loot I got. But if you look at the percentage, I got 5 pieces. Or I did 5 things in this instance. Did get a few pieces of gear. They go so quickly because there's so much. So from this point forward, I'll kind of show in the bag what I got. But I mean, it was the first run, so I figured kind of working some kinks out. Um, I didn't really edit too much out of this either, just because it's such a short raid. It's okay. Um, so he loots that boss. Kind of showing the things I did get. Uh, Also, I want to start running these things with more people because, like that mace right there, it's one of the few melee weapons that hunters can't equip because of our addition with the survival spec. A lot of pole arms and staves we can equip, which is great because it allows a hunter to be more versatile and allows you to unlock more mogs. Um, uh, Another side note is that, excuse me, when before they did the whole stat squish and they pretty much made old mats obsolete, on my server I used to be able to disenchant those purples for 35 gold. So any items that sold for less than 15 I would disenchant. Anything that vendored for more than that I would just vendor, just because sometimes the crystals didn't sell. I didn't want to be stuck with inventory. The way I treat the auction house is I want cash as soon as possible. Even if I have to take a 10-20% loss, I don't mind. I just want to empty out my bags for more stuff. Um, so here's 2 more pieces of trash. We'll kill these, and I'm trying to see. Um, I don't think anything drops from these either. Yeah, so we just keep on moving. Waiting for our paladin friend to meander his way up these stairs. This boss does have a chance to drop a pet for the pet achievement in Cataclysm that was added. So he is supposed to empower those other 3 versions of himself, but I mean you should kill him pretty quickly. So get a really sweet helm piece, and I do want to start showing this gear more. So I think when I start soloing these, I'll show the gear a little bit more. Or I can even do additional videos at the end where I just show the gear. I think this might be what I'm going to do from this point forward. I'm getting ready to see the hardest boss in most raids. The hardest boss in any World of Warcraft raid. This is when they're live, not just when you're soloing old stuff. I think I've died at elevators more than probably any other raid boss. That does include progression rating and cataclysm as well. Especially the older ones, because I think I'd be talking, or it's not just because you're walking off and falling, it's because you're usually doing something else while raiding, and then it sneaks up on you the fact that, hey, there's an elevator here as you plummet to your death. I did get the Lava Spine Sword. The way we were distributing loot was if we got it and can use it, we kept it, but if the other person could use it, we definitely gave it to that person. I was willing to trade the Lava Spine Sword, but he was cool with me keeping it. So I was very happy about that. It looked pretty sweet. I wish it was a little bit longer, especially for like a Paladin or something like that. But I think it would look pretty nice on my Death Knight, actually. Just 2 of those. Um, but we'll see. I need to go back through and see if it's really a one-handed sword or not. But the start of the beginning of the channel is kind of just accumulate what I can, get a good basis, and then kind of move forward from there. We're sitting at 10.25% in this raid the first time through, which isn't bad. And I did get a BOE sword as well. And if you look at the TSM auction data right there, this is region average daily sold 0.04. What that usually means is, even if it shows sell prices, generally means they don't sell often. In my experience, which definitely isn't always accurate, but I haven't been able to sell anything that was a daily sold average of that amount. Now I'm sure there's some outlier items, but for the most part for me, I haven't been able to sell transmogs at all really. I know it's a market where you have to be patient, so I kind of tend to list things and people undercut you, and I want to move products. So I usually just end up equipping those. If I already have them, I'll just vendor them usually or offer them to other people. But greatest title in the history of the game right here. This is Maloriak. He's an experimenter in the raid. He practices experimenting on the drakes and the dragonflights to make them do Nefarian's bidding. But here is what I want everyone to see: the greatest title ever. I had to go in and switch. Dragonbone Warhelm was pretty cool too. I had to put on titles just so everybody can see it. But you see, I have a little buff in my top left. It's 30-minute buff. And if you turn around, because I don't show my own, Slayer stupid, incompetent, and disappointing minions. I wish that title would stay for permanent, but it does expire after 30 minutes. If it bothers you, you can also right click the buff and get rid of that. But it's pretty funny to me. So I never rated this raid at current, but I could see this pull being bad if you get close to one of those other dragons. But like I said, now these used to drop loot, so when I would raid these, I want to say in Warlords of Draenor, I used to be able to loot every one of these. So both those dogs and that handler that was walking with them, you would be able to loot all of them. And so as you can see, the Paladin was able to loot the left one, so I disappeared, and the other 2 just unlootable. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I guess what they would do is if we asked them to make everything lootable, they would just distribute the loot we'd normally get anyways, so I don't think we'd gain any gold per se. Grays are great in here. Get about 3 to 4 gold each. And so, I mean, every bit helps. Like, again, no loot from any of those 3 guys. Now, this council up here, there's 5 on the right, 5 on the left. Those used to also give you loot, and again, we don't have that opportunity anymore. kind of the basis of why this channel came to existence is I would run Molten Core a lot. And then I started adding Blackwing Layer, BWL, to my rotation because they made the egg part a lot easier. Originally it was really tough. But the thing that by doing that, I started to notice this pattern. So if I ran it on my Warlock, just for an example, my Warlock would drop a lot of Hunter gear. So I'd immediately jump on my Hunter and run it again. Then it seemed like I was getting all the Warlock gear and just kind of kept going in that pattern where whatever tune I just ran on, the gear seemed to drop the very next time. I thought about multi-boxing as a way to alleviate that, because if you have two accounts under the same account, it would unlock the transmogs for you. I still might do that, but I kind of feel like that cheapens the process, if you will. But we'll see. Maybe after like a couple months, I'll get exhausted of that and then just start triple boxing or even quadruple boxing, bringing a leather, a mail, a plate, and a cloth in every run. But we'll see. I have the computer to do that. Just don't know if that's the route I want to go. I mean, that would expedite things, but it seems a little like we're cheating things. Also on this boss, if you don't move around a lot, he can't hear you because he's been blinded by Maloriak. And if he can't hear you, you get an achievement for it, basically. I did get the... Which piece did I get? Dang, I kind of rushed through that one. I did get a drop there. From this point forward, I'm going to do a better job of just reviewing what I have each time. I'm going to open my bags and then I'll show it in the viewer window. It's just one of the first runs and trying to working out all the kinks and whatnot. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip ahead here. So yeah, on that boss we did get 3 pieces each. Alright, so we fast forwarded to the next boss. Back in the days, even when you sold this boss, he had this ability after a certain amount of time that would drop everybody's 0 health unless you picked up this item. That item would kind of keep you from dying, but if you're able to kill him before that time, which we did here, you do get an achievement. So we're sitting at, I did get a few pieces of gear also, so I'm sitting at 23.07%, which is pretty good. 24, almost a quarter of the entire raid is done. We did miss the next, we missed an achievement on this next boss here, and I'll show you in a minute. This next boss, you run out, click the orb, and I'll show the orb here. So we made it to the orb. The orb, just so you know, is this is the entrance we're looking at is the one we just came out of. So when you come out of that last dog boss, make a left, go back to the orb where the dragon was, and then come back over here for the final platform. Once you descend, the raid boss here will begin to explain how he twisted his sister Anoxia. Then he'll fly off. So the achievement here is, when Nefarian's flying around, he starts to begin his descent. I should have followed him here up the stairs and started shooting him, but I didn't. I think the best idea is next time hit that orb and go to the left hand side, which would left from the orb, so where he's floating around. If I would have shot him down before he got to the end, that would have been an achievement, but I was dumb, came down here and shot Onyxia, and then for some reason I couldn't reach Nefarian where he was at. Or maybe I should have stayed on the platform right here and killed him. That probably would have made more sense. But for some reason I couldn't, my damage wasn't that great. And I think it's because I was trying to use kill command. Not too sure, but if you kill him before he lands, you do get a separate achievement. So now we can go see what we got and move on from there. Appreciate everybody watching these videos, kind of as I document what I'm collecting. I'll loot him and I'll give a final percentage. Got a couple things from him, sitting at 29.48% for this raid. Got tons of leather gear and plate, so, you know, it is what it is. Appreciate everybody watching. Happy collecting and hope to see you guys soon. Thanks and take care.